This is Sweet 16, where we watch the sweetest 16 minutes of gameplay and chat about what we're seeing. I'm Rad, and joining me from the ABC Gamer team is Joe.
Hello.
And Jordan.
Hello.
All right, so today we're looking at Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, as played by Jordan. What are we seeing? Why is his head so big?
Bradley, we are in a little chibi world known as the Wonderlands, following Scantly Chad, my custom-made hero here, who is trying to go on a quest to prevent a mythical enemy known as the Dragon Lord from being resurrected.
Okay, I love anti-resurrection story, so we're here for it.
Yeah, it's a very strong departure from the typical grim kind of Borderlands format. We're definitely, it's very heavily like D&D role-playing style, and there's going to be like a lot of parody that we're going to be seeing happening here.
Yeah, okay.
Would you say Borderlands is grim?
I think it's pretty like tonally oppressive in some instances, yeah, whereas this is a bit lighter.
All right.
I think so.
Okay, so is this a DLC to Borderlands? Like, how does it sit in the Borderlands universe? And also, Joe, how much do you know about Borderlands?
Well, I mean, I know a fair bit. I've played, I think, all of the games other than this one. I played the first two to completion, but I haven't finished the other ones.
Okay.
So this one fits in as like a side, like a spin-off, similar to like the pre-sequel. It doesn't have any major like implications for any kind of overriding story, but it follows 13-year-old Tiny Tina, who is leading a Bunkers and Badasses game, which is like Dungeons & Dragons.
Okay, so I see we're speeding up here.
Yes. Borderlands does this cool thing where they make you stop and listen to people talk, and in a looter shooter where you just want to shoot stuff and get guns, it's kind of boring, so I figured we'd speed up it here and get to the part
So
where
you sped that up. That wasn't part of the game.
That wasn't part of the game. I sped that up for our sake and for the viewer's sake.
I see. Was the conversation of any importance at all?
No, it was this person slowly telling us that they're trying to resurrect the Dragon Lord by getting this sword of souls, which becomes very evident very soon anyway, so...
All right, and you've got a magical horse.
Yes, so that's Butt Stallion. Some fans might remember her from Borderlands 2. She is the thing we need to protect. We need to try and prevent her kingdom from being taken over by the Dragon Lord. And she comes with us. It's nice. It's cute.
I have only played a little bit of, I think, Borderlands 1, and it was like a million years ago, and I don't remember very much. But this feels like visually quite Borderlands, but story-wise, just complete departure.
Oh yeah, they've gone bonkers. I'm sure Joe can attest to how different this one is.
I mean, I feel like they've always been bonkers. So this is set in like a game within the Borderlands universe? Like Tiny Tina's playing a game within Borderlands and it's like role-playing?
Yeah, she's DMing for the player character and two other characters, voiced by Wanda Sykes and Andy Samberg, actually.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, great voice talent. And the bad guy is voiced by Will Arnett as well.
That feels very, very confusing to me, actually.
Why is that?
I'm sure it makes sense when you're actually playing it, but just, like, so she's an Overlord character. Like, what interaction do you ever have with her if you're playing a playable character?
Yeah, she's the narrator who like throws things at you. So she's on your side. She just wants to like hold a good game of Bunkers and Badasses. But the player characters, including Andy Serberg, just struggling with what she's trying to do because she doesn't really have much of a plan. It's all kind of improv.
Did that conceit work for you? Did you find that fun?
Initially, I'll be honest, not so much. There's like, it's the theme, and I'm going to be reviewing this one as well. The theme of it is interesting, like all super magical, but the gunplay itself kind of like lets it down because it's trying to be Borderlands while trying to do this whole fantasy thing, and it just doesn't really get the best of both worlds. No.
Yeah, I mean, this gun feels a little out of place. There's all this sort of D&D-esque characters with swords and bows, and you've just got machine guns.
Yeah.
Like Borderlands machine guns.
Yeah, well, that's it. What you would have just seen is I pulled down a meteor, which is one of my magic abilities, which replaces grenades in this game. And I wish the game had more magic. Like, I genuinely wish there was more stuff going on other than just, I'm going to shoot the same mythical creature 100 times in the face before it dies.
So there's no...
I mean, that's Borderlands thing is like infinite guns, I guess. So it would be a pretty big change up if they removed the guns. But yeah.
I guess they could have just had more fantasy guns, right? Like they could have had you shooting magic from your hands that's basically a machine gun, and like more crossbows and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this one looks good to me. This looks like it fits, but those other guns felt out of place.
Yeah. Well, as you can see right here, I've just found a new chest full of different spells, but it's the exact same spell 4 times.
Oh.
And so there's not really much variety with the spell, at least in the early game. It does open up a bit more later. but it kind of like, yeah.
Is it the kind of thing where it's like slightly different stats on the one type of spell?
Yes, and that is like one of my biggest issues. And it's always been the thing with Borderlands. Anytime you're looking at a new weapon to pick up, it's not about how fun it is, it's about the numbers. So you're looking at like spreadsheets of numbers every time you're looking down at the ground at loot. And that just completely detracts from the experience. Similar to like how the gaming, like how the characters stop and talk to you. It's like, I don't want to stop and look and count out numbers to see what's going to be like incrementally better. I want to pick up a gun and shoot people crazily, you know?
So are you a big Borderlands fan? Like, are you really into the base series?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Borderlands 1 and 2. Borderlands 3 kind of lost me a little bit, and pre-sequel, similar kind of caliber of this game. This game definitely feels like it's not, the budget's not behind it, so it doesn't feel as tight. I actually reinstalled Borderlands 3 to see how it compared, and Borderlands 3 feels like a much more complete package.
I like how you're like, oh yeah, I guess I'm a little bit of a fan. You're like, I've played all of them.
Yeah, I guess so. I dabble. I dabble in Borderlands.
But then there's mega fans who spend, tens of hundreds of hours in games like Borderlands. So
that's fair.
You wanna
pay them their respect. That's fair.
Yeah, it just feels this game feels very inconsequential. Like, it's a fun concept, but I don't think the game can survive on theme alone. Like, I feel like there needed to be a bit more in terms of actual, like the gunplay needed to feel a bit tighter and the weapons needed to feel a bit more exciting. But I appreciate what they're doing.
I was gonna say that it feels a little bit sloppy and not quite as out there in the kind of colorful, fun way as I'm used to seeing from Borderlands. It feels a little bit more just visually flat, and it also feels like, I don't know, it doesn't have that same kind of satisfaction of just feeling like you're making every shot and popping off all these enemies real quick.
Totally know what you mean. And I guess like Psycho's in the Borderlands series like so iconic, but we're now getting pretty generic like skeleton villains that are running up to you, and it's just not the same.
Yeah.
It's interesting as well that we obviously looked at Destiny, and this is obviously, it's very similar kind of style of game, a looter shooter, got some magic powers, but just Destiny, it has so much fun stuff happening on screen at any moment, and this is kind of like a bit bland.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, even with a sparkly unicorn, I'm still like, yeah.
Even the unicorn can't save it.
That was good, but Stallion just pulled off an impressive move there.
I think also it's like Destiny, it has a little bit of that Twitch shooter feel to it, where it feels like you're constantly whipping around and managing to land these like great shots, whereas this feels just, I don't know, a lot slower paced, and everything in here is grey except for a couple of purple accents, and all the environment that you see kind of beyond the buildings is really bland as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why I appreciate the overworld a bit more in this game, because in previous Borderlands games there's a lot of like exploring and just hiking through areas, whereas in this one you pretty quickly get to your next level and you're not just kind of wandering through drab environments.
There's no vehicles in this, right?
No vehicles, no. Not that I've found so far. I haven't finished it just yet. I'm nearly there, but no vehicles just yet.
Because in Borderlands games, it's typically always vehicles, but apparently there's none in this one.
No, exactly.
Which, to be honest, I'm kind of happy about, because the vehicles have always felt a little just like a way to get from point A to point B. Like, the combat was never that fun in them. So I guess they're just streamlining that, which I'm on board with.
Here's a cool moment coming up, actually.
Oh.
I guess this is a point where I was pretty immersed, because I wasn't really paying attention and paid for it. Are you fantasy fans, both of you?
I enjoy fantasy.
You like fantasy, yeah? Because I forgot about this very important trope in fantasy and actually jump scared me. Oh.
Yes. A good old mimic.
Immediately, yelped.
So how far through the game is this piece of footage?
This is very early, so this is within the first 2 hours. So this is before all major abilities. This is before I even unlock a third gun slot.
Okay, right. And you said that it opens up a little bit more. Did the abilities start to look cooler?
Not really, no. Because they're tied to a grenade slot, you can get the cooldown and everything reduced, but it's not super thrilling to use. They still rely on you just blasting stuff with machine guns.
That whole section there looked a bit ridiculous. You were shooting a floating blue goat.
Yes.
It was just running around in circles in the air.
Yeah. So that was my class power as a spellcaster. Okay. I could polymorph, and you can polymorph literally anything except big bosses into goats.
Right. So you turned something into the goat, which made it easier to kill. I thought that was just like an enemy, and I was like, that's a dumb enemy.
Yes, but also more boring. It became more boring to shoot then because it just kind of floats around in the air and you're just sitting there.
Yeah, your abilities to make the game less fun.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
So did you just put a book on this altar?
I did. How exciting.
Wow.
I know. Amazing. So I just retrieved this book, which lets me down into this tomb because I'm trying to banish this skeleton cult and prevent this summoning. And it's going well so far. I mean, it's not been the most fun, but it's going all right.
I do love a good tomb.
I learnt my lesson from the mimic here. I shot that chest, and thankfully it was just a spider.
So, because you're supposed to be playing this as sort of a D&D type campaign with other characters, it feels strange that you're by yourself.
Yeah. So I'm a loner, so I have no friends who wanted to play this game with me. No, that's not true. Actually, I was playing this bit solo. I have done some multiplayer matchmaking online. The game's a lot better. When there's other people and a bit more chaos going on, it's a much better experience. I would highly recommend anyone who wants to play this game, make sure you at least have 2 or 3 friends interested in it.
And can you play the main campaign multiplayer?
Yes, absolutely. The whole thing's definitely, they encourage you to play it multiplayer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Borderlands' big thing, really, is it's, you know, a 4-player co-op PvE experience.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, again, I've not played a lot of Borderlands, but I was going to say this is not my vibe of Borderlands.
Yeah, totally. And it gets better with people.
I mean, everything gets better with people. I always feel that's a little unfair when people say that about games. It's like, well, yeah, it's kind of boring. But if you've got friends and you're playing with them, it's fun. It's like, well, you know, playing with your friends is fun in most things, but the game, it should be fun solo as well.
I agree. Because I actually, funnily enough, I played the entirety of Borderlands 2 by myself and had a really good time with it.
Yeah, I did too.
Is that because you don't have any friends, Jordan?
Yeah, total loner over here. It's unbelievable. But yeah, no, it's still an enjoyable time. I'll be honest, it was pretty hard to come back to this game sometimes. When Elden Ring and there are so many other games happening that are like really nailing the fantasy stuff, to play this game again, it's been tough. But we're getting there.
Yeah, look, I won't lie, it's not capturing my my imagination.
Yeah.
How was the writing for you? Because I feel like Borderlands humor is very juvenile, kind of high school level,
Yes.
which can work. It can be fun, but it's also can be a bit grating when you've got 50 hours of it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's the thing. So I really enjoyed the voice acting more than the writing itself. Tonally, they're trying, as you may have noticed, there's no like blood splatter anymore. There's no like crazy headshots or anything. They're actually toning down the violence and everything a lot because I think they're going for a younger audience.
Right.
I appreciated that, and I can, because they're not trying to be like edgy. The humor isn't grating anymore as it was in Borderlands 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's that kind of edgelord humor always feels a bit like, all right, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. This feels more fun. This feels more like, let's play with the tropes, let's have some fun. We're not like being cruel or punching down or anything. We're just having some fun with things.
And those good comedians on board as well will help sell it.
Oh, big time.
I feel like you are just absolutely eating hits right now. This like boss fight, alleged boss fight, seems very easy.
Yes. It feels tedious when you're doing it because you just have to run over here, shoot, run over here, shoot. And that's exactly what happened. It was a very non-event. But we impressed Butt Stallion, and Butt Stallion's here to help.
And most of the boss fights like that?
Yes, as far as like generally Bullet Sponge, which even with more players, it's an even more brief affair. So not a lot to write home about in the boss department. But we just got the Sword of Souls.
Amazing.
Do you get to use it?
No, you don't, not at all. And now it's this person again who is going to try and exposition us. And I'm going to fast forward one more time real quick. Don't mind me.
So what does the Sword of Souls do?
It's just a MacGuffin. It's just a plot device to...
You can't use it?
You can't use it. It's purely used to keep the Dragon Lord from returning.
Well, you stabbed him with it.
Yeah. So I captured that Zomboss's soul so that we can infuse the sword and repair the kingdom, which is we're about to go right now and do. But again, it's just a device. They don't really have a reason to keep the story going. They just have typical like tropes in fantasy.
Yeah, right. Well, okay.
Yeah, we've skipped forward a little bit here, but we've kind of restored Disneyland to its former glory now, as you can see by the castle in the background. The player character, my character, Scaly Chad, is about to get knighted.
Ooh.
And this is actually going to lead to a little bit of a cliffhanger.
Oh. Oh!
Uh-oh. So despite our best efforts retrieving that
Got the sword.
MacGuffin, somehow the Dragon Lord returned.
Oh, he just took it straight off ya.
Yeah, it's Rise of the Skywalker all over again.
Not Bud Stallion.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh!
So that's Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Nothing needs to happen. Nothing makes sense. But it's fun to play through and listen to actors do their thing.
I love how the whole time I was like, it's a bit whatever, like, it's probably a bit of fun, but not necessarily something grabbing my attention. And then you bring us a piece of footage where your unicorn friend just gets destroyed right at the end.
Does she?
Ah.
You pull us in, Jordan.
Well, if you want to find out if it's good or not, you'll have to play it yourself or tune into our Play or Pass on it.
No, I'm just gonna bug you about it as soon as we stop recording and be like, so what happened?
Tell me everything.
Well, what did you guys think? Do you reckon you can do better? Do you reckon you can get past and find out what happens to your unicorn friend? Let us know in the comments and check out some of the other stuff on ABC Gamer and get involved. We'll see you next time.